already know who has written this. Oh, I thought it was somebody else who had written this article, because there's a girl who just puts things on this website. Like, where? Kunendaje. Now, it's called baby trapping. Baby trapping is one of those situations where a woman or a man will trap you with a child. And I said woman or man. Please, let's be very clear. It can be either gender. It's because men these days are out here trying to,
get you pregnant so you don't
get
leave.
you pregnant. I almost got trapped. I'm trying to, way.
Baby trapping is not specific
It's not
to
a
one
gender.
gender.
It is not specific to a gender. But unfortunately, it happens a lot more with women than it does with men, if we're being entirely honest. But regardless, I think it's very important for us to actually understand what is the motivation of trapping someone with a baby. Let's not even forget, I've gone so far. The story of the guy who got the child, and 4 days later, the babe just left him with a kid.
True.
And he's over there saying, oh, find this girl. She's left me the 4-day-old child, blah, blah, blah. But she's like, dude, I never wanted this child. And I told you, but you insisted. You said you would step up. You said you would take care of everything as long as I gave birth for you. Now I have given birth for you. Here is your child. What do you want me for? Me, I'm in love with somebody else. And this man really thought he was going to trap this girl. But she was just like, no, I don't want to be with you, and I do not want to have this child, but you really wanted it. So, do what you got to do with the baby now. And it completely clicked, because honestly, the main motivation for people trapping you with a child is basically to control you. Once you have a child, you have so much time that you'll focus on your child. Like, oftentimes, people with children, for the most 2 years, even 3 years sometimes, your head is locked. Unafikirianga kitu kingine, unafikirianga tu my baby. Have they eaten? Have they slept? It's just your baby. So if you were in a relationship where you wanted to exit and now you're stuck with a baby, you're really stuck. For 2 years, Evie, you will not be thinking about anything else. Leaving this man, nah. You're stuck with a baby. For women, motivation is usually sometimes financial. In fact, oftentimes it's financial. You're like, if I get this, we've seen this a lot. Even that Britney, I hate to say it, but the other Drea, she's always, getting babies with all these random people who have a lot of money. It happens a lot in the basketball world, in the athletic world. A man with a lot of money, someone will get a child with them so that they can get child support from them, which is financial freedom on their part, because they really don't want to work hard in their life. So motivations are different for different people. However, the narrative remains the same. You're still trapping someone with a child. Have you heard of someone trying to trap someone with a child?
Yeah, absolutely. I have heard stories of people who are trying to, sometimes it looks like the relationship is on rocks. And you're like, the only way to salvage this relationship is bringing a child into it, because maybe they'll feel inclined to stay. But this is so unfair, and this is one of the reasons why we should not be trapping anyone with a child, because it is so unfair to this child, because I believe every child should come into a situation where they are wanted, they are loved, they feel safe. But if this child has been brought into this relationship as a band-aid to fix something that they did not broke, it's a lot of pressure on this tiny little child, and they grow up in a space where they're always, fighting battles, and like they're a mediator between their parents when they shouldn't be. So do not use children as a band-aid for your relationship. If it's ending, let it go. It may be difficult. You may have invested money, time, years, family, friends, friendships, but if it's just not working anymore, don't bring a child into the situation. It is so unfair.
Absolutely. Another major thing that happens is oftentimes when someone actually traps you with a baby, and the partner who was being trapped decides, imagine
It's not for me.
it's not for me, and they actually leave the relationship fully, and you're left with this child. You find that a lot of times you end up abandoning your child and your parental responsibilities, because you're like, you only got this child to trap this person, and now they've left. What now? The child is no longer of use to you. You have no love. In fact, you see them and you get angry about the partner that left. That can lead to a lot of resentment, which can lead to a lot of abandonment of the child, and an abandoned child does not grow well. Let me tell you, a lot of the drama we're seeing in this world today, a lot of the issues we're seeing with grown-ups now stem from parents. I had a deadbeat dad. I had a horrible abusive dad. I had a horrible abusive mom. My mom never took care of me. She didn't feel like she loved me. A lot of these issues seep into your adulthood, and it just leads to a whole generation of tortured children and tortured adults. It's not fair.
Yeah. And also on top of the resentment, now I hate, absolutely hate this person because they've put me in such a situation where I feel trapped. You know, this child is now my responsibility. Even if I had abandoned them, the court requires me. She sued me for child support. The court requires me to provide for this child. So that's now a financial strain. Also, I have had my own share of traumas, and would hate to, you know, enforce that cycle, to go on with this cycle of my father was absent and now here is this child. I may no longer be with the parent, but now if I'm in a situation where I am providing for this child financially, they're going to school, they are eating, this is money I had not accounted for because, you know, you sprung this pregnancy on me. On top of that, I don't want to be that absent father that I had, because what am I doing here? So now I now have to love this child. I now have to learn how to love this child that I did not want. That is not just another emotional strain that you're not prepared for. And if you're not also seeking therapy, it can be difficult to navigate these things. You now become an alcoholic to try and make sense of what is happening right now. You now have very, you know, dangerous
Strange
vices,
coping
yeah, coping
mechanisms.
mechanisms, because you really did not want this situation, but life has lifed. You're providing for this child, and this child is calling you daddy, and you don't want to break their heart and say, I did not want you, mommy, I did not want you. It's a difficult place to be in.
Also, let's not, I know people keep saying, yeah, take your partner to court to, you know, get the legal rights that you need and the support financially that you need. But legal and custodial issues take forever. And they can be very complicated. Very, 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 very complicated. We've seen people who've broken up and then they decided they will have, you okay, fine, you take full custody of this child. In fact, I never want to see you or this child ever again. And then later on, they change their mind. They're like, no, but I want to have access to my child. Now you're back in court again trying to amend and get, you know, 50-50 custody. You find that the most horrible interactions you've seen online, I think I saw one where this mom they had a meetup where she would drop off the kids with the ex-husband so that the kids can now go for the week with the ex-husband, and vice versa. So they had a pick up and drop off point. Usually you get like a safe spot where you can either exchange the children, either a police station or somewhere, like it depends on what you guys agreed upon. And this lady officially refused to take the child to this pickup point, right? And when the partner came 1 week, didn't show up. He's not allowed to go to her house. Second week, didn't show up. He's not allowed to go to her house. He cannot contact her in the way that he should have. They have to use a proxy. And she's being very difficult about it. You know, the cops actually, he went and reported it to the cops, and the cops actually showed up to this mama's house. They're like, yo, Wagwan, why aren't you giving this man his children? And she's like, yeah, I went there and he wasn't there. They're like, no, that's a lie, because if you came to the police station, we would have seen you. So why are you lying? And there's a weird energy that usually comes from it. There's one parent who will use their children as a bargaining chip, you know, which is so unfair to the children. You're like using them to get something out of it, or you're using them to like, you know, get your lick back. So it can be very complicated, and therefore it's very important that you find a mutual ground. So before you trap someone with a child, let's agree to have children with people who are interested, with mutual interests. I want a child, you want a child. Even in marriages, don't force issues. Why are you forcing your husband to have children if he doesn't want to? Why are you forcing your wife to have children? You should have had these conversations beforehand. So let's not trap people with babies, guys. It's very complicated.
That's what's up.
In case you've learned something during this weekend, it is allow your baby fathers to see their children, allow your baby mamas to see their children, support each other financially where it is necessary, and try as much as you can to protect your children. They are ultimately what will generate the future.
True.
Name's Kathomi Kathomi.
My name is Turife. Have a lovely weekend.